Our next contestant is having some difficulties
Okay.
connecting. So Traven is working with her on that. And at the moment we don't have her. We had her, we lost her, we had her, we lost her. So we'll see
Raven,
if we
maybe she's on Safari. Maybe we need to have her on something else. But
she's on her phone is the issue. So
oh,
he's helping her to connect via her phone.
right.
So I think that's what the issue is. But
Yeah.
yes, we've had some Safari problems. I don't know if you I don't know if I've ever told you the dream that I had, Dr. Granpeesheh, right around the time that I was starting to work at CARD, as I was getting ready to work at CARD, I had this dream that I talk about on the show from time to time. And basically I was leaving an office and I packed up my stuff in the office and was walking out into a parking lot. And as I got into, and I'm holding like this box with a plant in it and everything, like the stereotypical, I'm done with this, I'm moving on to something else. And I was standing there in the parking lot, and this car in the dream pulls into the parking lot, and it was, the top was down, and there was this woman with wild hair driving this car erratically, and she rolled the car. And she fell out of the car, and as she fell out of the car, she was rolling with this ginormous coat. And every time she would roll, a baby would fall out of the coat. But there were people in the parking lot. And as I know I have very vivid dreams for somebody who doesn't drink or do other things, right? But every time she would roll and a baby would come out, someone in the parking lot would grab a hold of her, roll with her. And as she would roll away, they would be left with the baby and she would keep rolling. And then another person would grab her, roll with her, have the baby, and she kept rolling and rolling and rolling until she landed at my feet. And at that point, I could see that she was me. And she looked up at me and she said, "Oh my gosh, did you see what happened to me?" And I said to her, "Oh my gosh, did you see how many people's arms you were in?"
Wow.
And I woke up and it,
goosebumps, Shannon.
right? And I woke up and it was this feeling, because it was, I said to you the other day that when I started to work at CARD, I realized I just thought it was the therapist. I didn't realize how many people's arms I was in. And it was sort of my head trying to find a way of languaging that to myself, that even while we had been through this thing, that while I was experiencing it, I thought it was traumatic, I didn't always recognize how many people's arms I was in. And it's something I talk about on the show with our families, that they don't know how many people are up at 2:00 in the morning thinking about them, thinking, how can I help that mom in Kansas? How can I, do this? What can we do to help those families that are in India? That there are bright minds coming up with these things. And these are some of the people whose arms you have been in, you guys, and you didn't even know it, because you were doing something, and Lisa Bancroft was up at 3:00 in the morning coming up with a program for her kiddo that is now being used for your kiddo. So isn't that a great way of looking at it, though, that whose arms you're in?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing that I often think about is that with a lot of these senior folks, the folks who've been at CARD for 20 plus years, aside from the fact that they have pretty incredible resilience and they're extremely flexible people, they're very humble people, all of these folks, because none of these folks have ever been kind of like, oh, it's important to me what title I have or what position I have or whatever it is. What is that poster that says, kind of lists says none of these things matter when you die, and what you've done for other people's lives is what really matters. And you look at all these people and they're tremendously talented, incredible individuals who are not just brilliant clinicians, but they also know this company, know CARD better than anyone, right? They've been here over 20 years. But you're never going to hear any of them say, oh, why was it that I didn't become such and such or this or that? They just continue to find joy in helping the next child and the next child and the next child. And it is tremendous, the effect they have on the world.
It is. I personally know that. Now, Elaine has tried several times to connect. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's say nice things about her behind her back in case it doesn't work. Tell me about Elaine Herrera.
Oh, I wish we could bring her on. So Elaine, of course, is one of those folks who has been a supervisor for a very, very long time. She has been helping hundreds of families at CARD. I honestly, Shannon, I don't think Elaine has ever complained about a single thing, no matter what change occurred in her site, which she was working out of the Torrance area. No matter, policies that would affect all supervisors, policies that would affect families, policy changes that would affect scheduling, whatever it was, Elaine was always flexible and went along with it. And she has a very calm, loving demeanor. And it would have been lovely to have her on because she's also one of those folks that brings a very, very peaceful, calming, don't worry, I will take care of it kind of energy to the families. And I will say, Elaine has been involved both as a therapist and as a supervisor with uh, many children who have recovered and have done extremely well. And she's also been involved with giving great support to families, kind of parents who really, really needed just to know that there's a village of people taking care of you. Elaine has always been there. It's amazing. I would love to know her exact dates because it's amazing that she's been practicing as a fantastic clinician for over 20 years at CARD. These are incredible gifts, that this organization is just so lucky to have. Oh, we might have her on.
It looks like she's there. Elaine, are you there or are you frozen? Oh, we can see her for a second. It's just a tease.
Yeah, maybe we'll see if we can arrange a different time for these folks who aren't able to join today.
Yeah, it's she was there and now she's gone again. Bummer. We saw her for a second. And what an amazing thing, to hear you talk about her. Would have loved to have talked to her, and she's back. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Elaine, we see you blinking.
Are you there? Oh my gosh. And here's another person who, by the way, looks exactly the way she did 20 years ago. Hi, Elaine.
She can't hear us. We're waving to you.
Can you hear me?
Blow her.
We can hear you. We can hear you, but unfortunately, it's one way, I think. You can't hear us, huh? No, it doesn't.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can.
We can hear you too.
We can hear you too. That's wonderful. Welcome.
I can hear you. Okay. Thank you.
Elaine, tell us,
It's
we're on time, and I already sang your praises while you were trying to get on, but tell us how you joined CARD and how your journey has been.
Okay, many years ago. So I started off in Irvine, the original Irvine office, and I think we only had 3 offices at the time, or maybe it was the second CARD office. And at the time I was attending Pepperdine for my master's program, and they were literally right across the parking lot from each other, the campus. Yes. And the office. And I was in a behavioral theories class, and my professor had invited some of the supervisors and one of the kids to come to the office. And so they actually did therapy with this kid, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Honestly, it wasn't anything I was looking for. I was looking for a job. I knew I wanted to work with kids. I knew I wanted to go into the psychology field. I was working towards my MFT license, and that's ultimately what I wanted to do, was just do some counseling with kids, but not any particular population. So I guess you could say CARD found me. Yes. And then so I was working in the Irvine office, and then I moved to Virginia, worked at that office, the one office that they had, for a couple of years, and I was the only therapist that they had for a little bit. And then I came back here and I worked at the Woodland Hills office and got to work with Doreen, Dr. Granpeesheh, directly for a little bit, and that was nice, just for a few months. And then they opened up the Torrance office, and then I was at the Torrance office for, I want to say, like 15 years maybe. And I'm at the Long Beach office now. Well, this is my home office, but I am a group clinical manager working with Long Beach, Monterey Park, and Harbor City. And actually, I made a list of all the offices that I've actually worked with in CARD, and I added 12
That's
altogether.
amazing.
But
That is
mostly
amazing.
working at Torrance and
So Shannon, it's also, I love to hear that because we just were, Elaine, talking to Lisa Bancroft, who was also at the Irvine office. And, you know, I remember that office so well. It was right across the street from the airport. It was on Mickelson. And and so many very, very talented people came out of that location in particular. Kathy Thompson, of course, was responsible for a lot of that. And then when you went to Virginia, I assume at that point you worked with Marianne and perhaps Sue, maybe, also incredible seniors. And see, this is about, it's like once you are, and that this is the thing with the seniors, I find, Elaine, and you tell me what you think, but I feel like when you're here that long and when you were here when we were so much smaller, it just, you're such a big part of building something, right? So like so many of the things that we made back then are still being used. And that kind of gives you a whole different sense of it than just being like a supervisor in a company with 400 supervisors.
Yeah, it does. People always, they ask me how long I've been working with CARD, and I always joke because I don't want to tell people my age. So I say that I was born and raised at CARD. I grew up here, but basically we grew up together.
Yeah.
Like CARD and I started as little babies, and we've grown together.
What a privilege. What a privilege to have you working with our kiddos. We are just about out of time, and I hate to leave because we haven't had very much time with you, but you need to go back and watch this show and see all the wonderful things that Dr. Granpeesheh said about you, Elaine. She said lovely things.
I want to thank you, and I want to thank you, and I just want to say, I know that this group clinical manager position is a relatively new role, but you know, you've always been someone who has mentored and taught a lot of other people, and I'm glad that you're in this role right now because I feel like the supervisors in all of your sites have a lot to learn from you, and they're going to be benefiting from your experience and your wisdom and everything that you can teach them. And it's so lovely to see you. I haven't seen you in ages, and I'm so glad that we could get you on the show to honor you and to thank you for so many years of dedication.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you on behalf of all the families. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.